All right, welcome to the 814 Q&A, where Sean is the only one here who doesn't, who has any mirth left in him.
Yeah,
Have fun.
Google's been teabagging us. So, yeah, it's taken how long? What was that, 20 minutes? 17 minutes. So, welcome.
And I already hate you all for making me do this at this time. I hate you all.
Yeah,
Hey,
Johnny is.
that's
There
a
you go.
trademark phrase. You can't do it up in royalties.
I think you owe him $1.17.
Well, after 6 or 7 p.m., it becomes my phrase. We trade off ownership.
That actually seems fair to me.
Sean tried to schedule something next Tuesday at 8. He sent me an Asana message. He's like, hey, you guys, and I can't help but read it in the voice of a Labrador Retriever, Hey, you guys, is 8 o'clock next Tuesday good for you? After we just did one at 8 o'clock on Monday and 8 o'clock on Thursday, and I said, if you make me do that, I will have to kill you.
Yeah, he shut that shit down fast.
By the way, our phone system is just sucking. I'm I got email like 18 minutes later from Johnny. So everything is just conspiring.
Yeah, it is the worst night for technology ever.
As far as publisher Hachette, it says the French pronunciation. So Hachette, I don't know.
Oh, there we go. All right. So should we talk about that first? Is that what we should talk about first? Because I know people are really super curious about that. Or get right to the questions.
I'm so angry. Oh my god.
I think we should reschedule this. I don't want to deal with angry Johnny. This isn't fun.
Is there a?
Oh, I'm sure
Dave,
I'll loosen up.
Dave, I need to see. Wait, do you have a White Russian?
Why don't you just have Dave be the chipper one, and I'll just be the one who brews?
No, that works. Dave, can you be giddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always giddy. What are you talking about?
I need you to start drinking a wine cooler. That's what I need.
I don't have any.
All right.
Have any?
Should we get to questions?
So, what do you want to talk about that? Because the punchline is that Amazon is allowing pre-orders now for us. And Sean had made a comment in the email, in case you didn't catch it, about that this he says it's just basically Amazon trying to teabag Hachette. And so maybe we should briefly explain that situation first, because the way I understand it, it's about Amazon wanting to be able to sell the larger name ebooks for lower prices than the publishers are willing to allow them to do it for. And so they basically said, well, fuck off, we won't sell your stuff then.
Yeah, it really seems like both parties need a ruler. They're so just waving their dicks around, seeing who's bigger. But you guys saw that email over the weekend, right? Because Amazon is I don't know, they're just puffing their chest. And this seems like a sequel to that email. The email was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. Not even taking sides, because when I sent an email I sent a text to Dave before the email went out, or to text to Dave and Johnny, that just said, hey, you guys, I'm sending you a test email. I want to know if you think this is okay. And I was only asking about the teabagging comment because I thought maybe it was over the top. And Dave didn't respond to that at all. He said, well, I don't know that you should be taking Amazon's side. What side is there to take? We got pre-order pages. This is awesome, bitches. And then he said,
I don't know what the context was.
So then he says, I don't give a fuck about teabagging. And Johnny goes, teabagging is consistent with our brand. So apparently that was fine. But the whole thing was that over the weekend they sent this email that was just it was very rah, but it was smart, it was articulate, although they did bastardize the truth with, they used George Orwell for their example, and they totally did it wrong, because that wasn't what George Orwell stood for at all, and they misquoted him. But still.
That email was way too long, and so I lost interest after several paragraphs, so I didn't get to George Orwell, I don't think.
Oh, they totally changed history. But it was still an effective email. I admire what they did, because they really are not going down about this. And this was the sequel to that email, where they're like, hey, you know how your authors can't have pre-orders anymore because you're fucking them? Well, we're going to give it to all the indies. And that's pretty cool, because there's so much we can do. Everyone listening to this right now, this is good for you. This is good for people who do serial stuff. I will say there is a danger here, and I really hope that indies have their shit together. Chrissy Moss actually sent this email a couple hours ago, and she said, I think this is great, this is awesome, but the danger is, what about people who don't deliver? And that's true. Like, what is the quality control there? I do see it. I think indies have to work really hard to earn their reputation, right? You have to put out quality stuff and all of that, and if you don't deliver, that looks bad for us.
I got a slight issue here. Our YouTube says comments are disabled for this video, so
yeah, because we want comments on the page. That's
They're
why
on the
I did
page.
that.
Oh, okay.
But the whole point was we sent them to the page on Sterling and Stone. That's why Sean sent the emails.
Oh.
Yeah, and all of this stuff, you guys, you're going to see there's a lot of hiccups right now. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done better than it is.
Yes.
Yeah, and don't think that we're not aware of these things that need to improve. Like, there's a big list of them, but this site was a huge undertaking, and I'm really, really happy with how it's all progressing, but it's certainly not overnight, and we have to get better at everything, essentially.
We may, in the future, I raised the question to Sean while we were waiting. I really liked the very, very first Q&A we did where we had the questions.
I did too.
And that means moving it to Google+. I mean, that's, and so it's like we're going to have to figure this out. Like, do we have it on Sterling and Stone? Do we allow it on YouTube? The reason, like I said, I disabled YouTube comments is because we can only watch one place. We can't be all over the place. And so it's the latest sterlingandstone.net blog post is the one that's about this Q&A, and that's where the video.
This is how we did it we did it this way all through Fiction Unboxed, and it was very effective because we could be linear and just look at one row of questions as they came in, and so that was really, really effective. And it also keeps an archive. Like, this is always there on that page. All the questions that were asked that night, they link up directly with the video right above it. It's nice and it's neat, but getting it to you guys needs to be better. Our system of emailing and the RSS feeds and all of that, like, that just needs to be so much better than it is. But we'll get there. We're actively aware of the problems.
So we want to move into questions?
Yes. Let me pull the page up, though.
It's not the latest blog post. It's showing up as a second blog post.
Is it the second blog post?
Yeah, because we put that other one.
It is sterlingandstone.net.
Oh, we did put that one.
Ask-us-anything-sterling-stone.
Because this is the Sterling and Stone themed questions and answer. You can ask pretty much anything, but the idea was to talk about sort of the idea of having this platform site, which we wouldn't expect yours to be as huge as ours, but the idea of it.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Jacob.
I don't even see the video on this site.
That's why I couldn't see it either.
See, okay, that's a problem. I saw somebody else say that in the comments too, but it is showing up for me.
And there's not even a link to it. So I guess if you're on Google Chrome, which is, YouTube's.
All right, I will edit the post. Oh my God, I'm so mad right now. I will edit the post again, and I will include a link to the YouTube.
So go to the video, but don't ask us questions on the video. Go back to the web.
Well, I guess I got to enable comments. I guess I gotta enable comments on YouTube.
It's more important to make it convenient for people right now.
All right. Oh, it's so terrible. All right, somebody ask a question.
All right. Well, I just had it up, and then I moved. Hold on. Okay, so this is from Jacob. He says, all right, so you're just starting out. You have a great idea, and it's going to make a series, sales funnels, whoop whoop. Do you write the first book, release it, then write the second book, release it over and over, or do you write a bunch of the books and then release all at once? You've likely seen the strategy being thrown around about having 5 books published all at once and then the 6th ready to go for a month later. Your thoughts, good sirs? I actually think that like, this is a good example of how this Amazon thing today with the pre-order pages, this kind of changes everything, because like if you have these books written, you could put them out in a sequential with release dates, unless they only allow you one at a time or something. But you could plot it out, and you could say they're coming out a month apart or whatever it is, here, and here. And that's an interesting way to use these pre-sale pages. But as far as the actual spacing, I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer for that at all. I think it depends on how quickly you can deliver. I think things need to take as long as they need to take. I probably wouldn't wait until all 5 were written. If it was me personally, I'd probably, let's say it's a 6-book series, I'd probably like to have 3 in the bank, and then release the first one, and then work on the next 2 while I wait, and then maybe every few months put another one out. Try to get them all out in a year, maybe one every other month. That's probably what I do, one every other month for a year, and I'd start with making sure I was at least 3 ahead.
We had a follow-up question on that. Dustin Porta, second in the question, and asked, does word count of the individual titles change the strategy? Follow-up question, my project is kind of large and structured so that I can publish the first quarter of a book. One is a free novella. If I want to sell a full version of a book, of book 1, would this be a good strategy to garner pre-orders or just wishful thinking? I don't think you should divide a book.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. That's
anything that makes a reader get to the end and go, "What the fuck is this idiot pulling?" Avoid that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
be angry getting to the end of
just
something.
Make the whole first book free if you're going to go that route.
Right. An example here is we did that with Vengeance and Namaste. So Vengeance is like a little novella prelude to Namaste, and it's included in Namaste. So if you buy Namaste, you get Prelude anyway. You could get Prelude and then maybe buy Namaste if you like it, and Prelude is free. So that's exactly what Dave is saying. If you're gonna do that, you got to make that entry point free. You can't say, "Hey, jackass! I just gave you a part of a story. Now you have to pay for the whole thing." Angry reader.
Now, I will say it may look hypocritical to somebody that's just recently found us that we have episode 1s of our books, but no episode 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So like Yesterday's Gone, we have episode 1 for free, but at the time, you could buy all 6 episodes individually. Now you cannot. And I think we would make season 1 free if we were able to, just so the whole book would be free. But starting out right now, or starting out if we were starting over, we would not do episode and then lead into a book. We would just make the whole first book free.
It's also very clear. I think your messaging has to be clear. And we're calling it episode 1. So by calling it episode 1, it has a bookend. It has a front and a back. Like it already seems like a complete thing. It's just a complete episode, not a complete story. But if you're writing a novel, you're writing a book, and you're releasing just a novella, the first chunk of it, because it sprawls, and you're charging for that, and it's not really clear what you're doing to the reader, you could have an upset reader, and that's pretty much the worst thing you can have.
Okay. Next question. Amy Schubert says, I'd love to hear how Crash Sales are doing and what your long-term marketing plans are for it. Since it's a standalone, P.S. it was fantastic. Clarification, I just mean sales compared to what you expect of our standalone, not exact numbers. I think that the sales in the first week or 2 were good, and now it's just out there, and probably a few a day. I don't even look. It's not selling. It's not selling massive numbers or anything because it is a standalone title. I wish I had not released it at 99 cents. A lot of people emailed me and said, thanks for, selling it for 99 cents, but I would have gladly paid more. I do think, with the strategy we had, like using BookBub and stuff like that, I don't know if it was great to start off at 99 cents, but at the same time, we wanted to experiment with the Kindle Countdown deal, so it will be cheap again. I don't know if it'll be 99 or a little bit more.
Did you get BookBub, Dave?
I don't know. I thought somebody else might have been handling that, so I thought somebody else was booking our ads for us, but I guess not.
I think you would notice the huge BookBub influx.
Yes, but you
no,
need
we didn't get BookBub for the first round. I thought you meant for the next.
Gotcha.
No,
that's
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Crash is kind of an odd title because it's the very last one before we all unified under this umbrella, and so there's some catch up we want to do with it. We want to put it out in print. In hardback. It'll be a pretty little hardback. It's a shorter book, but it feels substantial for its size. So we definitely want print. We definitely want hardback. We'll have it in audio, and it's a great title. I think that it will be a producer forever. Dave really bears his soul in it, and it's just well done. And but as far as specific marketing goals, there's none really specific to that title. It's more our marketing goals right now. Like, it's funny, Dave said he doesn't know how it's selling. I don't either. I haven't checked the dashboard in a while because I've been so focused. I'm just not focused on book sales right now, which seems silly, but it's because I can only have my attention in so many places, and I'm really focused on building Sterling and Stone because that is our future. That's what's going to give us the stability to do everything else that we want to do. So it's just where most of my attention is, and and all of our aims are kind of shifting right now to getting this engine really rolling. So all of our marketing for all of our titles for the rest of this year really are about streamlining things and getting all of our messaging in alignment, all of our product descriptions in alignment, all of that stuff. So trying to go from individual books the way we have it now, and even individual books within individual imprints, to this is our whole line, this is all the colors, that kind of thing.
I think that I'd just like to add something on that. We got the idea to do a 99-cent launch again from our friend Darren Wearmouth, who he and Colin, his partner, had a really good 99-cent launch of first activation and so forth. So we decided to see if we could try this 99-cent launch thing. And I think that what we've decided across all of the imprints, unless I'm mistaken about this, is that we are not going to do that anymore. For a few reasons. Logistically, when you produce as much as we do, it's very difficult to keep up with price changes across all the platforms, and Amazon will reliably price match proactively. So when we changed the price of the Dream Engine from 99 cents to $4.99, we had several days of, hey, Amazon, like, it's not 99 cents, it's anywhere else, stop price matching it. And it's just such a pain in the ass. And plus, I think I feel, and I felt this when we did it for Dream Engine, but like, fine, I wanted to roll the dice and see how that launch strategy worked. But I think it devalues it just a little bit. Like, this stuff is worth more than 99 cents, and we were kind of done with that at Realm and Sands before this launch, and I think we're done with it again.
Yeah, we're done with it again, and here's the difference. Here's the dividing line. I think we are all three of us are highly invested in treating our best fans, our truest fans, our earliest readers, the people who are kind of always with us. We want to give them the best deal. And so we have them on a list over here. We've got Outlaws or Goners, and we want to make sure that when we have a new title out, we can tell them that it's out now, and because you're on this list, you clearly want to know early, and we want to give them the very best deal. And that's really important to us to nurture that. But the Sterling and Stone side is giving us another way to do that. Now we can still reward that same group in a way that works better for us and for them, and preserve our price integrity on Amazon and all the other platforms. So basically, if you want the best deal, then you're over here in this area rather than shopping on Amazon.
Right. This is actually Milo's next question is tangentially related to this just a little bit. What Sean kind of skirted around there, but didn't specifically. I don't think you specifically said it, was that since we have this continuity program with the Sterling and Stoners, the people who get early access and cheap access to the books. So, for instance, right now, it's $4.99 a month for that, and it'll creep up a little bit over time. But if you get in at $4.95, like those people know, it's $4.95 for them for as long as they want to stay with us. And so, when like Access of Aaron comes out, we thought that's a standalone as well. And we will launch that at full price of probably $4.99.
No, that'll be $5.99. It's too long, right?
Yeah, it's 150,000 words, so that'll be $5.99, which shits on my point a little bit, but not too much. Which was the continuity. The continuity at the time it'll be more. It'll be like $7 or $8 by then, and so the question will be, or it'll be about equivalent. And so the question will be like, do you want to pay $6 for this book, or do you want to go ahead and just get the better deal, and then you get it and the free audiobooks and early releases and discounts on stuff and so it's a way for us to do two things. Number one, reward those most loyal fans rather than crapping on them. If we release Access at 99 cents, then it's kind of like, hey, you guys who are our most loyal fans, then we're giving it away for 99 cents, so you aren't really getting much of a deal being a Sterling and Stoner.
No, they have to get the best deal. That's kind of essential to our model. And like right now, Threshold doesn't come out. Collective Inkwell's Threshold comes out in 2 weeks. But Sterling and Stoners are reading it already. And Milo, the answer to that is that the funnel's just not really very good right now. So what it should be is everybody, the big list, the
Milo
general
is asking why it was hard to find to answer.
Oh,
before
right. Sorry. So yeah, he's asking why is information on how to be a Sterling and Stoner so hard to find on the site. And that's just because we're not finished. So the way it's supposed to be, you're supposed to get to become a starter, and that gives you the library and the almanac and all of this. And then at that point, like an autoresponder would kick in, and it would let you know why this is such an awesome deal. That autoresponder isn't written. We wrote one post about it, but it's not that big a deal. Then there's the one thing in the sidebar. We really do need to improve that messaging. Same with RSS signups, and one thing that we're going to do is called the digest. And just like the almanac comes out every Sunday, Jacob is going to do a digest every Sunday, which is actually just like what Johnny used to do at Copyblogger every Saturday, where it was like a roundup. This is everything that happened in our world.
Why not have it on Saturday?
Because Saturday we already have BOU and the new LOL serial. It's the LOL day.
What you guys don't know necessarily about the Sterling and Stone site is that for months Sean was telling us, boy, I'm just writing all this content for Sterling and Stone. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And the original launch date was scheduled to be July 17th. Is that right?
That's right.
Because Sean's big on anniversaries, and of course, since I'm his mistress, I need to remember such anniversaries. And David, being his wife, it's even more onus. What you're seeing is a scaled down version of Sterling and Stone because there was just too much. It was like, well, there's no way we're going to be able to launch this, and it would have been overwhelmed. So one of the reasons we're having B content, meaning that the primary post for the day, the one that is on top of the blog for the longest period of time, that's A content. And then there's B content. The reason we have B content that goes up a few hours before that is because we need to catch up to where it would have been if we had launched it in full. So you will see a lot of evolution on Sterling and Stone, and actually the top post right now makes the argument 11 reasons why every author should pay attention to Sterling and Stone, and it's one of them. I mean, we're always evolving and so forth. Don't pay attention to it right now. Pay attention to this hangout. Till 9:30. I'm the fuck out of here.
We're evolving very, very quickly on the site, and it's almost we're kind of sick with content actually, especially as we go forward. A lot of the stuff that we have in the wings, in all mediums, we have a lot more audio coming, a lot more video coming. A lot more copy coming. Serial fiction is coming back in a big way from both.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah, actually, three of our imprints will be serializing within the next few weeks,
including a new imprint.
Well, you're taking my punchline, bitch. So we've got Collective Inkwell. Actually, I'm gonna let Dave talk about Collective Inkwell, and then Johnny can talk about what Realm and Sands is gonna do, and then I'll drop the new news. So Dave, what are we doing at Inkwell?
We are going to release for Nevermore. We'll start with season 1, and then we've been looking for a reason to write season 2 because financially, I don't know that it makes a ton of sense because it was probably our least selling book, but the people that have read it have loved it and have been emailing.
Yeah, it has a 5-star average. Like
the people are asking like, when the hell are you going to get back to it? It's been like 2 years now, and financially it doesn't make sense to do it, but we do want to get to it, and when Sean was talking about doing something serialized on the website, I don't know if he suggested or I suggested.
Well, no, this was actually cool. I came to the table with For Nevermore. Like, I really wanted to do this, and in my head I couldn't see any downsides, but I thought I was going to have to talk Dave into it. So I'm all like, hey, I got an idea. right? And so, okay, let me hear it. And I totally thought I was going to talk him into it, and I didn't. He's like, awesome, when do we start? And I said, January. And he said, why can't we start right now? And that's like the opposite of Dave, so I wanted to fly to Redacted and hug him.
What they're talking about is, because we didn't actually specifically say this either, is for the Sterling and Stoners, for the people who are paid true fan subscribers, that they're really, really into our stuff, they want to get stuff early, they want to get free audiobooks and all this stuff, we're going to serialize 3 projects. And so they're talking about, for Nevermore, we'll start with Season 1, serializing what is already out there, and then we'll serialize Season 2. And those people who are subscribers will be able to follow along on a weekly periodical basis, which I love because I've never done it, but I like the idea, and I watched how much success Collective Inkwell had with this early on. And the Amazon's model makes true serialization really tricky, but I really agreed with what these guys said about people were like, that water cooler thing, like, ooh, what happened this week? Can you believe it? Like, I can't wait to find out.
Yeah, and we have forums to support it on Sterling and Stone too, which is
Right.
awesome. We can actually get dialogue going on the stories and worlds, and that's just what a great way to bond with readers. Like, I'm so in love with this.
So Sterling and Stone, Realm and Sands will do the same with Robot Proletariat. So Collective Inkwell will be serializing for Nevermore Season 1, and then beginning with the new for Nevermore Season 2, writing it week to week. Realm and Sands will serialize the existing Robot Proletariat Season 1, because you can't start with a Season 2. And then we'll begin to serialize Season 2, but the difference for us, if it matters, is that it will have been written entirely in advance and parceled out that way. So I don't know what that means for the Kindle versions, but whatever. And then do you want to talk about the third?
Yeah, so I think the Kindle versions will have to come out much later. Basically, after the people that we wrote it for have fully consumed it, then it can go out to the general public. And I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool, and I love, like, Dave's like, no, we need more fiction on the site. Like, how do we get more fiction on the site? And that's fantastic. So we have a new imprint that's not really new at all, and I got to give major props to Jacob Toulos for this idea. Because he pitched us and we told him
I believe
no.
that would be J.P. Howell.
Or J.P. Howell. So he pitched us on this idea, and we were like, no. And then he gave us 38 reasons why it was the best idea ever, and we agreed with like 35 of them. And it's basically that Realm and Sands is going to split off. Basically, Realm and Sands is going to get rid of the LOLs, and LOL is going to become its own imprint. Now, this makes sense.
Sitcom comedies, which Dave has disagreed with from the beginning. Only the difference is, I think Dave thought they were stupid as a whole.
Right.
And Jacob argued that they could be cool if they were in their own ecosystem, and we liked that argument better.
Yeah, that was actually my initial argument, that they shouldn't be cluttering Realm and Sands like fantasy and other stuff. They should be their own thing, so people weren't confused.
Okay, well, Jacob argued better than you. And
whatever.
It was just kind of like it was like, Dave, it isn't what you say, it's how you say it.
It was like that. So anyway, regardless, and
okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't being all nice and kissing your ass about it.
Well, Realm
I
and
know
Sands,
these are the greatest things from God, handed down to humans, but please.
The one thing that Sean and I held firm to was, we've always said that Realm and Sands was about, we're fearless, we'll write in any genre. And then we decided, no, Realm and Sands has evolved. It's had a year and a half of evolution, and it no longer means we just write all sorts of things. It has a flavor, and we've actually used the adjective, this is very Realm and Sands, and that means something different. It does not.
Right, and our comedies aren't very Realm and Sands. Our comedies are very Sean and Johnny, but they're not very Realm and Sands.
They're not deep. There's no deep meaning. They're just funny, and that's different. Like some of the other stuff has funny moments, but they're
not funny, right? So LOL is comedy first, and I like that. I do. And it allows us to preserve our names as storytellers. Like, that's what we want to do. Like, we do want to write comedy because it's fun, but it shouldn't detract from Realm and Sands. And so anyway, that's going to be its own thing, and it allows new comedies to be greenlit, like Redacted, which is going to happen.
Which may become which may be called Better Off Undead for branding reasons.
Right, and so Better Off Undead, the show, actually is is LOL. Like that's an LOL brand. Lexi Maxwell's adult video would fit with the LOL brand. It's a straight comedy. It's not erotica. It's not even romance. It's comedy.
Can I just interject? Can we keep question answers limited? I mean, we're only on question 3 and 47.
Yeah, we'll
All
roll
right,
down.
so
All right, so
Janae
to finish that
Wilcox.
thought, yeah, to finish that thought, so on Saturday mornings, we'll have Better Off Undead in the morning. It's like your Saturday cartoons. Better Off Undead in the morning, and then we'll have a comedy. Yeah, we'll have a comedy right after it every week. And we'll just, our purpose on Saturdays is to make you laugh. Yeah.
Janae Wilcox.
So Janae Wilcox.
Oh, you're going to do it?
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. Sorry.
Go ahead. You're better with the comment.
I've been waiting for this. I'd like to know exactly how you're doing the extras for Dream Engine, which videos. I figure you won't be using all the videos from Unboxed. Are you using? I was thinking of including vlog extras on my site during the production, generate interest for the book's release, but don't want to spoil anything for the reader. What are your thoughts on this? Should I keep the extras private until after I release? Any examples of someone else doing extras? Would Dave like to see something like this from his favorite creators? I need to make sure I get Dave's opinion also. Lastly, you guys are awesome. Yeah, I know a few authors do stuff similar where they have like associated content. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. I would like to see my favorite authors doing it. None of my favorites, I think, do. But I love any time that an author offers insight to their creative process. One thing I think, as far as I'm concerned, for Collective Inkwell extras, I think I would like to do development diary like ahead of time with no spoilers, but then after the book is released, then that would have, then we could offer something with more spoilers inside.
Axis of Aaron is a way better example than Dream Engine. I just finished the first draft of Axis of Aaron yesterday, and I love this book. It's so different from anything we've done. It's a standalone, but I kept a development diary for that through the entire thing, and it was about 6 weeks of production. And what we decided is, as far as spoilers, is that we're probably going to tease some stuff on the blog that is spoiler-free. Like it'll be the safe stuff. But because of the nature of the thing, as I was struggling through, because there's some twists and turns in Axis, and I couldn't write the development diary honestly without spoiling from day one. Like day one is like, okay, we have to, approach this conclusion, and I'm struggling with how to handle it. So like it's spoiled right away. And so what we decided to do was to put the full development diary in the back of the book, the one that's rich with spoilers, and to put safe versions on the blog as teasers, and that's how we're going to use it.
Cool.
So okay, so I think as far as it depends on the imprint. I'll go quickly, Davely. So so I think it depends on
Davely?
I did. I don't know where it came from, but I'm gonna call him Davely from now on. I think it's awesome. All right, so Davely. I think it depends on the imprint. So, like Johnny said, for Axis, we have a development diary. We also have beats to work from. That the how to do Scrivener for beats is a way of it's an extra, and we have stuff like that. We'll always have my beats. We'll always have diaries, stuff like that. We're talking about doing like hangouts that are just the three of us talking about our work each time we're finished with a book, and that'll be on the site also. And I think it depends on the imprint. For Collective Inkwell, Dave makes the covers, and Dave, I think it makes sense for him to talk about the things that have inspired him there. I know Lexi is really visual, and when she's putting stuff together, it's visual that gives her ideas. So she could do like visual logs and things like that. So I think it just depends on the imprint, and I think the takeaway there is that you really want to look at what you have. And there isn't one size fits all. It's not like, oh, this is the kind of extras that you should have. Look at your material and look at how you produce it, and that's where you should get your extras from.
All right. Dominic asks, I would love to hear your opinions to the following question. What do you think are the most important things to consider about branding? It's especially interesting because your stories are in so many different genres, and I think Sterling and Stone, like RNS and CI, is one of your ways to strengthen your brand. Love your show and keep going. My personal thing on branding is don't confuse people, and I think that's somewhere where we're still struggling to get to.
Yeah, but Sterling and Stone, the purpose of Sterling and Stone is to solve that problem. I agree with Dave totally. We can't confuse people, and we confuse people constantly.
I'm confused.
Yeah, Dave is always confused. Dave texts. It doesn't matter if we have a hangout. You can guarantee 5 minutes before. So what is this about? Every time. So yeah, if one of our principals is, confused, we understand that everybody is confused. But we're really working hard to change that because we have a lot of imprints and we have a lot of inventory and a lot of stories, and we need to make sure that that's clear for everybody. I think honesty is really important with your branding. Don't ever try to be someone you're not because it's not sustainable. Know who you're trying to attract, or you'll attract the wrong people. I think Lexi made a misstep with her branding because I think she was attracting the wrong people and not focused on who she was honestly. And I think that, I think you have to really listen to that.
Branding is about honesty and consistency. I think that those are really, really key. And what's so great about being honest with your brand is I've had several brands over the years. I had the Johnny B. Truant independent brand, the self-publishing podcast brand, the Better Off Undead brand, Sterling and Stone, whatever his new brand, Realm and Sands. And what's so great about all of those is that they've been super, super honest. And what it means is, that that thing where people say the great thing about telling the truth is you don't need to remember
Yes.
what lies told. And it's that way too. So, for instance, with like Sean made that joke about how I said that the Hachette douchebag line was on brand. And when your brand is honest, you can just be like, look, that's who we are. Like, American Airlines can't say that they're teabagging another airline, but like they haven't fostered a brand that's as honest as ours. Like, this is who we are. We don't have to remember, oh, how do we need to posture for our people? With Better Off Undead, when we fuck it up, like, who cares? It's on brand. There you go. As long as your brand isn't, you're an asshole. But go ahead.
We touched on this a little. Anita asks, KDP pre-orders seem to be available to indies now. What are your thoughts on this? I think we said pros and cons. Will it give different results for an established indie author versus one with only a handful of fans, besides the obvious difference in amount of books sell? Will you use it, or will you mainly focus on Sterling and Stone from now on, seeing Amazon, Kobo, Apple as a supplement to the ways you distribute your books?
Well, okay, to very shortly put this, how we'll use it personally for us, I think, how Amazon had that 90 days of exclusivity, and that's what KDP Select is for, and blah, 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 right? I think Sterling and Stone essentially at this point we're not there yet, but going into 2015, it's like Sterling and Stone would have a 90-day exclusivity because stuff would be there first. The fans are getting it there first before it goes
I
on.
disagree on 90 days.
But that's the calendar, dude. Like, that's the calendar. Yesterday's Gone Season 6 is going to go to where it's the most strategic release that you could possibly have. Okay, but we're going to give it to our fans when it's ready.
Okay, but I think that there will be a certain segment of the audience, and I think you need to be cognizant of this. There will be a certain segment of the audience that doesn't want to buy direct from us. They just want it delivered to the Kindle. They don't want to go through the extra steps. And to make those people wait 90 days?
That's okay. That's okay. Like, that's okay. It's okay to have...
Just so you guys understand, we're talking about banking content early ahead of time anyway. That's the behind-the-scenes truth. Sean's been working on this for a while. Let's write Robot Proletariat Season 2 and 3 back-to-back. We're not actually doing that, but that's an example. And we'll bank 3. He's been gunning on this for a while. You guys haven't seen it. So the difference in the Sterling Stone model is let's give it to the stoners early. That, I think, is the difference. It's not deliberately holding it.
Dave, we're not punishing people for not doing it, rewarding the people who are. And that has to be okay. You have to be able to say, this little group of people over here, we different rules for you, because it doesn't make sense to publish it into the e-tailers until it fits in the publishing calendar. Like and I'm making this date up, but like if Yesterday's Gone Season 6, like we want to launch that on 4th of July. Like it's a big 4th of July summer event, and we're going to bill it like that. And that's what makes sense to publish it. But we have it done in March. I see nothing wrong with giving it to our truest fans who are, that's part, I mean, dude, you're the one who argued for that. You're like, no, what fans want most is early. Like
early, not like 3 months early, though. That seems like a stretch.
So what, you just hold it, then nobody gets it early?
I think it's about intention. If you have an established publication date and it's ready early, then why not give it early?
Right, and then and you're using that for lead gen anyway, because you have your pre-order page. It says 4th of July, but if people want it early, they can sign up for $4.95 here, or you sell it on your site. They can buy it on your site for $4.95. But yeah, it takes 90 days to get to Kindle.
I don't want to get bogged down in this. We can talk about it another time.
Wait. I want to make this point because this is important stuff. So you have like indie releases, right? You have indie movies, and they only hit New York and LA, and that's it. And if you don't live in New York or LA, you don't get to see that movie. Tough shit. Like, that's the way that entertainment works, and that's okay. Same with indie bands. Like, oh, I saw them. I drove all the way there. I got the thing because I'm a true fan. That's okay. It's trimming your tribe, and you have to be more comfortable with it.
I agree in principle. I think 90 days may be a little too long. I think it is punishing brand loyalists. But we can talk about that another time.
It's semantics, I think. So do you want to move on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jesse Haynes says, I have a question. Can we talk about the future of Lexi? I love you guys, but this erotica wants to know, I think she meant erotica author, wants to know, is Lexi leaving erotica? Will she be writing her delightsome sticky stories with disclaimers and placing them into their other genre counterparts? Please don't hate me for asking you to talk about Lexi. You know she's addicted.
No, I'm really glad you asked that because
Yeah, I hate you. I love that question.
No, it's a positioning thing. Here's the thing, like we've gone back and forth. We've had many hours of discussion with Lexi, going back and forth. She goes back and forth. We go back and forth. We swap. Here's what we should do this, and then the other side. It's on the other side the next time. It's a positioning thing. So what has happened with Lexi is Fate. Well, it was called Fate. It will be repositioned as a
Together Apart
in Time.
Fate.
I'm talking Fate.
Wrong book. Yeah, wrong book.
No, Together Apart was called Divorced, and the reason that those
the worst
had
title ever.
It is the worst title, but she was doing A, B, C, D. She was doing Sue Grafton with jizz, right? So, like, she needed a D title, she needed an E title, she needed an F title, and so. But the point is that Fate, which I was talking about, is a time travel romance that happens to have a lot of explicit. Not even a lot, like a few explicit scenes.
I think it has 3 scenes. It's a 50,000 word book, yeah.
And they're explicit. I mean, I just read it recently, but it's a story. It's a good time travel kind of romance story
about regrets and consequences and good stuff, good thematic stuff.
And so by putting it in erotica, what we were doing was we were saying. And by we, I mean the company was saying that this is what it's sex first because it's erotica, like boom, here it's sex, and I think that does a few things. I think that the people who go in looking for erotica I think it's a different purchaser than somebody who goes in looking for a story, and I think that we were selling a lot of that short by just saying that was erotica, and so her rebrand is not meant to change her stories, and she wouldn't. She won't let the stories be changed. I invite you to try and change Lexi Maxwell's mind on something like that. It's about matching the people who would most truly appreciate her stuff with her stuff. And one more thing I'll say before I know Sean probably wants to say something is our collaboration, our uncredited collaboration, Sean's and mine, with Lexi, The Future of Sex. That is a sci-fi title. And by putting it in erotica, what happened was people turned away and they said, well, I don't want to read porn. And it's like, yes, it has explicit scenes in it, but that is a sci-fi title. And so these sci-fi readers who might have appreciated it never got a chance because they said, well, I don't read erotica. And so that's what it is. It's positioning, not changing her stories.
Yeah, I think we made the same mistake with Lexi that we made with the Kickstarter campaign, with Fiction Unboxed, where Fiction Unboxed we had we're going to write a book live in 30 days. This is really awesome. But when we asked people for help, when we reached out to our network, we said, hey, we have a Kickstarter, and this is what it is. And we didn't put our story ahead of the platform, and it's the exact same mistake here. So we corrected one, we learned from it, and I think that we know what to do. That's the right thing to do now.
David Bain asks, are this and other Hangouts since February is going to be archived on the SPP site? I usually listen while driving instead of watching the YouTube channel. Is SPP on the SPP site anymore, or are we just moving everything over here now?
SPP, all the old
stuff. It's currently double posted, but it's still going to the podcast feed, and eventually we'll just change the source of that feed, which means YouTube users won't notice it. It'll be invisible, that change.
Yeah,
eventually. But they will not be on the SPP site, but unless you're literally, I mean, now they are. But unless you're literally watching on at selfpublishingpodcast.com, it won't matter because the iTunes feed will stay consistent.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Beth says, "Hey, you may have already talked. I'm sorry. You may have already been asked this before, and it's more of a personal question. But when you are writing together and hit a snag, say one or the other really hates where the story is going, and the other is digging his heels in because he loves where it's going, how do you compromise? This whole site has been great, and I'm still going through the podcast. I'm just discovering and learning something from each one. Thank you. Sorry for yelling." In all caps. Okay.
That's never
That hasn't happened at Realm and
yeah.
Sands, so I'll leave that to you guys.
It
hasn't happened to Inkwell.
Sean has been
Okay, fantastic. I thought it might have.
Sean has been very much. If I didn't like something, and I'm usually the one that'll object more. No. He's completely fine with me figuring out the best way to make it work. So. Okay.
Yeah, no, our conflict comes from things like what you just guys saw live, with like a 90-day exclusivity. Like, to me, something seems perfectly clear and it makes sense and it serves all masters, and Dave feels guilty for some reason that he's not treating people well.
Yeah, okay, back to that since you want to go back. I'm thinking about like Tomb Raider recently announced that they are going the company that made, I forget, Square Enix, made the game, the new game that came out last year, did great. Everybody fucking loved it. Although it didn't quite make enough money because you can never make enough money for fucking video game companies. But, so what they did is, because they didn't make all the money, to quote Jim Sterling, because they didn't make all the money, they decided to sign an exclusivity deal with Xbox to put it on there for a certain amount of time. Now, this has pissed off a ton of people because, they're like, well, fuck everyone else. So if you're loyal to PlayStation, you bought a PlayStation 4, you should not have to wait 4 or 5 months, maybe even a year, to play this fucking Tomb Raider game. And they're pissed off because it is a franchise that started off in more than one platform. It wasn't exclusive to begin with. So now they switch gears because they got fucking paid off. And now, they're pissing off all the loyalists.
But here's the actual...
is with us. The exclusivity is with us. It's not with a third party.
Right. Here's the analogy, Dave. It's Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam used to put out every year, they would give their fans a song, and then the next year they would release it as a single and charge for it. But their fans, I was a Pearl Jam in the fan club. I would get a song for that nobody else could have, and it was exclusive for a period of time.
Right. I'm familiar.
Okay, so it's treating your true fans differently.
Okay. I will retract my earlier complaint so long as we make it so long as we make it perfectly clear and very easy for people who want it on their Kindle to go ahead and send it there. So we'll have to have a video made. I want to make the transition very easy. I don't want to punish people that don't know how to do it.
I agree. What do we always say?
But the other thing to keep that in mind for that is that it is hard the first time. I anticipate a lot of first time. I've never bought from you before. How the fuck do I figure this out? But the second time, it's simple. They've done it.
All right.
Then they can buy them over and over.
We're all in agreement. Okay, so let's move on.
Wow. So healthy.
Fuck off.
Sean, we'll just say really quick, at the risk of prolonging this question, I'll keep it brief, is that Sean is he has a very unique attribute as a collaborator, in that he is really malleable to like. I didn't realize. I figured you guys had some conflicts about story directions.
No.
But the same thing happens with us. Now we don't even have that. It's not necessarily that I feel it should go in a direction and I push for it. It just doesn't occur. And I think that that's really, really unique in a collaborator. I think that a lot of people might. But once it's on my desk, Sean trusts me to find the story, and it sounds like he does the same with Dave. And
I think the trust that we have between the three of us is amazing. I think that someday we'll be able to all collaborate on something. I don't think we're there yet. We're not there yet. But I think it's amazing that Dave and I can do it as well as we do, and that Johnny and I can do it as well as we do. And I mean, we're lucky. And that is hard. A lot of people want to know how to collaborate, and I don't know, because I think that there is a variable that's just we have good chemistry, and I don't know that that's teachable.
I sense that Johnny and I both have egos concerning story. See, you don't have a huge ego when it comes to story. So that's why I can work with you. I think Johnny and I might clash because we have very strong opinions on where a story should go. But I would defer to you. Any
Yeah,
argument
Dave,
should
I
be-
love you, but it would be equally my fault. I'm not even saying that you'd be a curmudgeon. Like I'd be just as much of a dick. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't work. Sean's a good intermediary. He's the good.
I need to
he's the
see
good
this.
meat
I need to see this. I need to see you guys do a pod. We should do Fiction Unboxed 2 as you guys.
Oh, fuck you.
Fiction
It'll be
Unboxed
a
2
fun
as you
podcast.
guys. No, because then you'd have
that
two
one's
tiers.
that one's going to be called Fiction Unleashed.
No, right. And no, check this out. You have two totally different people here. You have people who buy it because they want to see the story take place, and you see people who are just
People that
buying
want
it.
to see us murder one another.
Right. They just want the train wreck. Like they're buying for the train wreck. This is another Kickstarter.
Okay,
All
let's
right.
get to the questions. Okay, Kevin Tomlin.
Let's keep
says,
it moving because I'm serious. 9:30, I'm out of here.
In a conversation I had with another indie author today, it came up that maybe you should focus all your energy on writing more books until you've got at least 3, maybe 5. This seems to be the point which funnel becomes effective. If that's true, and tell me if it ain't, what marketing should you focus on with just one book? I have an unrelated trilogy and a bunch of novellas available on top of this first book in a new series. What would be a good start on a marketing strategy?
Kevin, I will refer you to episode, I believe it was 116 of the Self-Publishing Podcast to answer that. That whole episode answers that question. What would we do if we were starting over, but it all was basically if we had like one book? So that would be my answer to that.
All right, next one. Milan Miranda. I hope I'm saying that right. First off, I adore Dave's laugh and Sean's general rambling sweetness. Don't know about you, though, Johnny. Brain, definitely brain, and also sense of humor. Been keeping an eye on you since your $97 days.
Why did I just get shit on a little bit there, I think?
No. If she's followed you, then...
No, I think she likes you, dude.
All right.
I feel this is a beginner's question, and I've been at this a while, but how important really is blogging these days when you're trying to reach readers, not other writers? I already know how important newsletters are, but both of them are so hard for me to get out these days. I feel like I have nothing to say except when I have a new release, and as a slow writer, those announcements are still few and far between. I used to be a prolific blogger, but when you feel like no one reads the post, it gets hard to keep up the old enthusiasm. Also, it helped that I was having bouts of unmedicated mania. Another question, this time about pre-orders at Amazon. Holy shit, I did not see that coming. Let's see.
Let's stick with her first question
Go ahead
because
and
we've
answer
already
that.
answered that, and there are a lot of questions here.
All right. Go ahead.
Oh, me?
Blogging? Okay, I'll answer.
Okay,
How do we feel blogging?
Yeah, let's let Dave answer this. He's got a good
I'll
blogging answer.
I'll keep it short. Blogging, is it as important? I think it depends. Personally, I think blogging to reach readers, you ought to be blogging about things that your readers are interested
and that you're genuinely passionate about. You have to look for that intersection.
Yeah.
Don't blog because you think you're supposed to, because it will not work.
Yeah, this is something that I think Carl Sinclair is doing really well with his geek blog. He's blogging about shit he loves, like Game of Thrones, comic books, movies. He blogs about things that he and I talk about off camera or off website, whatever. He talks about the stuff he loves, and that is all because A, he likes talking about it, and B, he wants to attract those kind of readers when he hasn't even published a book yet. So when he publishes a book, he has a built-in audience. I say you do the same thing if you can.
Yeah, pre-blogging makes sense. Just nobody ever blog because like it's on a list of things you have to do as an author. You have to know what you're saying, who you're trying to attract, and you have to feel passionate about it.
She asks, what other uses do you see for pre-order apart from actually offering your readers a pre-order? One friend said it's a good way to get your ASIN, etc. early for back matter stuff. And why are you rebooting Lexi rather than giving her a new persona? I feel like that ship may have already sailed.
What's the difference between
we're not giving her a new persona, we're reframing her existing persona. It's
right.
not... Yeah.
Right. So she already has some excellent work, but Divorced is a terrible title. Like you're not going to get a lot of people who are going to buy a book called Divorce. It's not a happy word. And so Together Apart with a new cover, which is beautiful, we already have it. It conveys a totally different message that's in alignment with the actual story that she told. And so I think that taking her line and giving it the respect that it has always deserved, getting rid of her oldest stuff when she was really just doing trashy single-serving horny stories, like getting rid of that and elevating the line. It just makes sense.
Her reboot is not about trying to make her seem that something that she is not. It is about trying to establish what she has been for a while and has been mired down in something else.
Donna L
So there's
says,
some RSS. Oh, I didn't know. Sorry, go ahead.
RSS thing. I didn't know if you wanted to.
No. I was going to say let's skip that.
Yeah, well, we're going to fix it. Yeah, we'll fix it.
Okay, Donna L. First, you're awesome. Thank you. Second, I'm getting ready to self-publish my first cookbook on restaurant quality paleo. Have several traditionally published cookbooks as a successful chef. I put in quite a lot of time and effort, not just writing, but recipe testing, complicated formatting, etc. I am still ready to launch at 99 cents on Kindle. Any parting words of wisdom about timing, raising the price, anything you have for me is appreciated. Thanks to your book, I'm already halfway through my second one.
I would ask about the 99 cents. Are you sure about that? Is there a specific strategy on there? I know there's a lot of competition in recipe books, so maybe that's why. I know there's different things charting all the time, and you've got to compete. Like, that sucks because you probably have a great book. You put a lot into it, and there's a lot of PLR crap with recipes that are competing, and they're keyword based, and they're owning spots that they have no right owning. So I don't know, maybe that's the reason for the 99 cents, but I also might argue that you set yourself apart by not playing that game and charging what it's going to be, and I don't know, that's hard. I think the 99 cent race to the bottom is rough.
I think with KDP Select, I think nonfiction authors actually do a little bit better at it because it does seem easier to rank, especially if you have high quality, because the difference is very obvious when people look at it. I would say go with KDP Select and maybe even try either the countdown or free. I think you have to choose one or the other though. But I would go with KDP Select for your first 3 months. That's what I would do. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I think that because it's nonfiction and recipes, I think that might be great advice.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of people do well on KDP Select nonfiction authors because those tend to, because usually they're in less competition in the genres and stuff, and so if they start ranking, it sort of carries over. It seems, at least from what I've observed. I could be completely friggin' wrong though. Let's go to the next one. Jeffrey Allen Plausch. I don't know if that's how you say his name. Can you add a yearly lump sum payment for Stoner membership, perhaps with a discount over a monthly payment? Encourage people to choose it. I think this would be a win-win because you'd save on PayPal fees and your customer would save a little money. Plus, the accounting would be simpler. Does Rainmaker's platform e-commerce package support Bitcoin payments? If not, maybe y'all could put in a feature request with a copy blogger, folks. I'd recommend they partner with Coinbase or BitPay to facilitate payments integration.
Man, I'm not touching Bitcoin at this point, personally.
Yeah.
Give me real money, please.
So the first question, yeah, I think lump sums are a great idea, and we'll have that. But man, it's right now we're just trying to get one thing done at a time. Get libraries out there, get these other things, but a yearly package absolutely does make sense, and it will be coming. We're just not there yet. As far as Bitcoin, I think it would have to get bigger than it is right now. I think right now that's a pretty big 20% thing. We want to focus on things that are like, most people can do PayPal or credit card, and that covers so much of the audience that even worrying about the other thing means that we're not getting something else taken care of.
Okay, next question. Haley Lawson says, what type of paid promotions do you do and have you found successful? More Kids launches on 20th August. Cheers from your tips. BookBub is one.
We've mainly done paid advertising via BookBub, e-reader news today, Kindle Books and Tips. What's the one that used to be bookblast.co? That's something else now. We've done Book Gorilla. I think BookBub continues to be the superstar by far.
BookBub is the one that works, but you have to get picked up. We haven't honestly had that much luck with ads. It's something that we really want because we have the inventory, so it would be awesome. But it hasn't worked for us as well as we want it to.
Tiffany Fulton says, hi guys, first of all, Sean, I want to say that 5 seconds after I got the email from Amazon about pre-orders, your email followed. I don't know who to make I don't know who to make of now for about this. You, Sean, for not getting me to my inbox first about the pre-orders, which is totes awesome, by the way, or Amazon for being late about giving us indies opportunity to reach more readers. You would think Amazon would have come up with this first, but Smashwords beat them to it, and Kobo. That's my insertion there. Thoughts on Amazon pre-orders? We already did touch that. Seriously, though, I'm proud and humbled that gents such as yourselves have come so far in your journey as writers, and I can't wait, after over 100 episodes, to finally tune in for a live show. You've given my 26-year-old self-confidence as a writer, especially one of shorter fiction. Can't wait to see what Sterling and Stone can do. Love, or is it hate you all? Roland Denzel says...
In the interest of speeding this up, maybe we could just hack to the center of the questions of those longer ones.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, actually, I think
so.
Roland's.
I'll find some.
Yeah, I actually do want to address Roland's real quick. So Roland says, "I thought Goners was a cool name, and Repeater works to help define what we need to be. But now that you're scraping the bottom of the barrel with stoners, I have to tell you to knock this shit off." All right. So this has come up a couple of times from people. And it's a legitimate thing, and I don't really know what to do about it. Now, for us, it's a branding thing, like it's teabagging, right? You have the name Sterling and Stone. Sterling and Stoners is just such the obvious name. Outlaws, Goners, Repeaters. Like it's the obvious thing. I do realize it's a little off-putting for some people. And I don't really know what to do about that.
People who may have a history with drug addiction or something like that.
Yeah, so I don't really know what to do about that except making like another parallel product or something, but we are aware of it. We have talked about it. We'll figure something out, but it just so is in alignment with, I mean, we have weed references in a lot of our stuff, and it's Sterling and Stone. Like, I just don't know how we could have avoided that. So anyhow.
Okay. Garrett asks, so are you going to be able to release books on Sterling and Stone 90 days ahead? But for those 90 days, enable pre-orders. That would be awesome.
That's sort of the question that we were arguing about earlier.
Chrissy Moss says...
Wait, we skipped Daniel.
There is one you missed there, Daniel, actually.
Yeah.
He says, since you've opened up the Dream Engine world to other authors, if you'll be offering direct sales of those books, or possibly just listing them on their site.
I don't want to take money from other authors and worry about that at all, but I think it makes sense to have a Dream Engine featured page and have those, and we'll probably be hashing some of that out.
Which would link to wherever they have them for sale. We would not sell them directly.
Yeah, I don't want to collect money from other authors. I think that seems very messy.
Okay.
Whole bunch about the video. I love the irony that we can say refresh the page, it should be better, but if you can see it, you don't have a problem, so that's pretty cool.
Right, that's fantastic.
Some people link to it, though, so they're looking out for each other.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Yeah, thank you, guys. Wow, I thought we had a ton more. Hold on, maybe I should refresh the page. I was like, oh, look at all these extra questions.
Well, yeah, Mylin says I'm looking extra shaggy. Yes, I need a haircut, clearly.
Sean is looking extra shaggy. I enjoyed how MGon replied to our comment about how maybe he was sick of us. Did you catch that? That was fun.
Yeah, I did. No, that was awesome. Oh, I love Chrissy. Sean, maybe you need to have CJ come back and explain it to Dave. He seems to like her explanations more. That's awesome. High five, Chrissy.
Misty Morgan says you have to admit the subscription model is an amazing deal. Right now, that I don't know if this is really a question. I guess that's what happens when you read them live. Right now, the guys have loads of projects. Just think how many perks. Yeah, it's more like she's talking to somebody else. It's not really a question.
We got some comments on YouTube that are being pretty funny.
Oh, let's hear them.
Quotidian Light says, oh, poor Dave, you beat him in submission. Missy Morgan says, is it true you guys make a great threesome? Smile.
Definitely.
She also says, Fiction Unleashed, where do we sign up?
Right?
Quotidian Light says, Missy, my eyes. And then they start talking about fantasies and stuff. So, yeah, I think maybe they want to see us wrestling.
I think Fiction Unleashed is a ripe idea.
You know, here's what we should do. If Fiction Unboxed were big enough that it would be ripe for parody, like if it were the sort of thing people knew about beyond our own community, we should have Ray do a parody of it. Fiction Unleashed. I could just imagine Ray Chase parody. Ray's YouTube shit is so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah, that guy cracks me up. I the other day we were watching something and I don't even know what it was, and Morgan Freeman like had a voiceover, and all I could hear was him talking about like
About stripping the queen.
oh my god, so terrible. All right, so we made it through those questions then, right?
Yep.
Like to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, we rushed through them so hard, and they're fewer.
Well,
Because I thought that there were
it
like
looked
5
like there were-
billion questions at the end.
It looked like there were a ton.
Yeah.
I didn't know half of them were about video.
Okay, well, no, here's a couple that need to be approved. Let me approve. PJ Owen says Sean's lighting makes him look like he is in some film noir detective flick set in the 40s.
They called them nose.
Okay, so PJ Owen also asked, I would like to
My office with a nose a mile long.
I would like to piggyback on the branding question. I really would like to avoid changing pen names for different age groups. Do you think it's possible to get away with this if the age levels are clearly defined? I'm thinking along the lines of rating books, PG, PG-13, NC-17, since the age range I want to write for spans ages 9 to 35. Is this just a bad idea, or do you think it could work if I'm very clear about it with readers?
I would like to interject that the one thing we didn't mention about LOL splitting off is that logistically on Amazon, because we had this discussion on our Realm and Sands meeting, is I said on Amazon, it's not going to matter that it's a separate imprint because Platt books are going to show up under Platt, Truant books are going to show up under Truant, so it doesn't effectively separate them. So we decided that we would go ahead and own those books everywhere, but we would need to create another author. Like we just need to do it. And
we're leaning towards Max Power, but we're not sure.
We're leaning towards Max Power as the name.
We should try to. We should brainstorm what would annoy Dave the most. Whatever Dave. Can we just call the author redacted? Could we do that? Because that would be awesome.
I think it should be Max Power, and then adult video would have to be a collaboration with Lexi since it's sexy too.
Max Power and Lexi Maxwell.
Yeah. Which actually works. So avoid changing age groups. I think that it's. I see what you're going with the ratings, but I don't. I would keep it much simpler. I would look at maybe under 18 and over 18. I don't think I would look at ratings. That's just entirely too complicated for me. So, for instance, Guy Incognito with the Sterling and Stone stuff will have links going in one direction, meaning Sterling and Stone will talk about Guy. But nothing at Guy will refer back to Sterling and Stone, because the last thing we would want is for somebody to read Lunark or Terrible Scaries or something like that, and then the kid comes, or the parent comes over and then finds Lexi, like that just can't happen. So I think that you can look in terms of that, like you say, if your reader is under 18, or it depends on how you define this. Like maybe you'd say just mentally they're under 15 or something. Like then you can go one set of criteria and another set of criteria for older people. But and we did choose. I mean, when I say we, I mean Sean. Like did choose to create that separate pen name for kids, and that's the one except. Well, that and erotica would be another exception too, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to be really careful about those lines. It is important to preserve children, and it's important.
Unless you're Dave.
Then throw them in front of the fucking train. Like
he preserves them in pickling.
I think that with children and with sex, really those two extremes.
What?
You want to
separately.
Separately. Those are two extremes, and you really want to keep them apart. You want to make sure that you're communicating with the right product descriptions and all of that.
Lexi's line of children's erotica is not going to happen?
That is not going to happen, no.
Garrett has a question. So, guys, I'm thinking I'm going as fast as I can, as many episodes, and make every episode I finish immediately available for pre-order on all platforms, long-term serialized series, now that I can do it on Amazon, including volumes when those are done. So volumes readers can pre-order in advance, get books every 2 months, but weekly readers can just pay for everything in advance and get a weekly update. But each week, each episode, we'll be trying to funnel people direct pre-orders with via Gumroad subscription thoughts.
I'm very confused by that.
Yeah. A, that's confusing. B, you want to be very careful about telling people to come to your site to buy don't buy from Amazon, buy here. Or don't buy from Kobo, buy here. You got to be very careful doing that. You can't like I've heard some people say, could we just put a link to our website to buy it, on Amazon. I'm like, no, you cannot do that. So.
Yeah, I'm somewhere.
By some people being nice. That was me who asked.
No. Before the whole pre-order thing, people have asked like an email. I'm like, no, because they were talking about direct selling. I'm like, no.
Yeah, you absolutely can't do that in your product description.
Just for the record, I didn't think that would fly. I was just asking the question.
But I think that, like, for example, unless Dave doesn't want to do this with Inkwell stuff, but it makes sense for all of our CTAs. Once upon a time, all of our CTAs were geared towards getting people to buy on Amazon, because Amazon was the biggest fish. That's where we wanted people to go. Now all of our CTAs are designed to get people over to Sterling and Stone, to a specific spot on
where
Sterling
they
and
can
Stone.
then go to Amazon or something like that. It's not like buy here. It's like here's the page for the book, and one of the options is direct.
Right, and you want to make that, easy. So, but what's really cool is that if they're on your site, the direct selling is just different. Let's say we've got somebody who wants to buy Yesterday's Gone season 1. They want to start. They're there on the page, and all of a sudden, they click. They could go to Amazon, Kobo, wherever. But one of the choices is buy it here right now, and then in parentheses it says something like support an indie author, something to make that a little more enticing. And then they click that, and okay, well, you could buy it here for $4.99, or maybe that's it. I guess you can't make it cheaper because
one of the things we talked about doing is you can't. Somebody actually asked this, and we had talked about it. You can't offer it for less. You can't be like it's $4.99 on Amazon. I'll sell it to you for $3.99. You can't do that.
Yeah, because they'll price match
you. What you could do is you could say, and it's also against terms. But what you can say is buy it on $4.99. Buy it for $4.99 on all these retailers, or buy it for $4.99 here, and we'll give you this extra thing. Like you can sweeten the deal. You can do that.
Right. So like the Access full development diary, as an example, like doesn't mean we're going to do that, but as an example, that full development diary and a bunch of other stuff could be a part of what you. So if you buy it on the site, you get EPUB, Mobi, an audio, like a whole little package.
Sean will read it to you.
And so literally. And I think that is cool, but also if you click on that button, maybe it can say, well, do you want this book, or do you want this library, or do you want all of the seasons for one low price? And that's not even available on Amazon because we top out at $9.99 there. So just the ability to be able to do it on your site is just it allows our whole company to be flexible with all of our imprints. It just really makes sense.
All right, last question from Jennifer Seltzer. She says, hey guys, my partner and I are going to have a booth at our first convention, Stanley's Kamikaze. Yeah. You're right, Dave. I can't just skip to the question because I'm doing it live. Any ideas on how to start list emails with people who are, I think that's supposed to be email lists, list emails, with people who are brand new and likely never have read your fiction. We'll be giving away free books at the con as well. I know live appearances aren't really your guys' thing yet, but we wanted to do it. Sean and I are going to be at one in a month. Thousands of people attend. Thoughts or suggestions?
Yeah, I really like what we had from Kobo with the writing online for, or not writing online, Write, Publish, Repeat when we went to Denver. Do you have those, Johnny, handy?
The bookmark with a free download?
Yeah, right.
So Mark printed these up for us. It's if you're listening on the audio, because I think we're going to rip the audio. Looks like the Write, Publish, Repeat book cover, but it says get this book free on Kobo. So the book is normally $6, but with this coupon right here, there's a QR code and explanation of how to use it. We're basically giving books away, the ebook version away free, and Mark gave us a crap ton of those, and we put them out on the table when we were at Copy Bloggers Authority Intensive in Denver in May, and I don't know how many people picked them up and redeemed them, but an interesting thing happened, and that was we attained some species of interconference notoriety. There were several times where Yeah, there were several times where we'd start talking about what we were doing just to people at a meal, and they'd be like, "Oh, you had that thing out front, like
Well,
you had that."
notoriety is a bad thing, not a good thing.
Isn't notoriety just
No.
people know you?
No, it's a negative. No, I've had this conversation with Sean.
He's corrected me on this a few
It's
times.
negative.
All right. So how do you make
molester?
how do you make it possessive? You put apostrophe s every time, no matter whether it ends in s. Use the Oxford comma, because these are debates we've had. No. Okay. So we did have notoriety.
Level of fame.
small level of interconference fame, and that was nice. And it also gave us. We didn't hand these out as a business card, but it kind of gave us a calling card nonetheless. Like it gave us a little bit of social proof because it was on the table at front. And I don't know where I'm going relative to her question, but that was cool. I liked that.
So you're
The idea, by the way, was supposed to be that from Kobo's perspective, if enough people got it for free, this is a discount, not a free download like on Amazon. So even though we received exactly nothing instead of $6, the idea was that these sales counted toward our ranking, our temperature on Kobo, and would then make it more visible. Now, I don't actually think it did that. I don't think we did get more visible on Kobo because of this, but that's the idea. And I think the other benefits were definitely there.
For other ways to get known, depending on your genre, I would suggest, Facebook groups, Pinterest, and starting a blog if it's something you want to write about. Those are things I've seen other authors do. Romance authors have done well with Facebook groups, especially.
Notoriety, noun, the state of being famous or well known for some bad quality or deed. So basically, better off undead.
Yes. Johnny was like hoping to prove me wrong live.
No. I was not. I actually do like being corrected about something like that because I feel like a douchebag if I use it wrong. So I actually thank you for that. But I did.
Okay, wait. We have one last one. I just refreshed. We have one last one. Black Stump asks, how should I start an email list if I've only got one book and don't have anything to offer to sweeten the deal? Make something to sweeten the deal. Like, you have to. Like, you can't just say, join my list because I'm a really nice guy and I garden on the weekends. Like, it doesn't work. You need to give a cookie. So make a short story.
Or don't make a list until you have something to give.
Yeah, record an audio or write your next book and start your list then. But you can't expect somebody to sign up for nothing. I think it's never been. We've never had more tools available to us to connect with our readers, but it's also never been harder to collect an email address. People are like done with that. You have to offer something value.
I'm going to disagree just a little bit. If I wouldn't say don't do one at all. I mean, if somebody really loved the book, then they might want to just know when it came out.
Or when the next one is.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't expect it to do well, but I would still go ahead and do one.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree.
I've actually given this example several times, this exact specific example twice on the podcast already. I'm going to give it again because she's going to be on the show now. But I read a book that I liked called Time Bound. It was the first. It actually won the Amazon. What is that? Breakout Novel Award.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really good, but it was clearly the first in a series, and there was no clear like here it's the next one's available. And I wanted to sign up for a list because I didn't want to forget about it. And
Right.
so I would have done that. And so if you have something where there will be a sequel, then I would definitely consider it even just for that. Because like, oh, I'm gonna forget about this book, and that makes sure they won't. Do you think that Black Stump is a birth name? I'm thinking that's a problem.
That was my wrestling name. No, my male stripper name.
All right, so let's draw this Q&A to a close. And
There
I
will
think that
be
we're
no
gonna
Better Off Undead tomorrow for anybody watching live. Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately there will not. That's
Could you hear the clapping around the country?
Yeah, and it could have been like Johnny versus farming was one that I wanted to do because I'm so sick of being a reluctant farmer. I need to move.
We can do another nighttime show tomorrow. I'm game.
No, it's not. Have fun with that, Dave.
All right.
Maybe this could just be the Better Off Undead. All right, so let's go ahead and finish up. But thanks for joining us. I think we're going to go back to doing these much more regularly. Fiction Unboxed knocked us right the fuck off the horse.
Oh my god, it was terrible. I mean, it was awesome, but it was long.
Kicked us right in all three sets of balls all at once. And so I think we're going to get back to this. But thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you when we see you.
Peace out.